go. Alright kids, any idea what's going on? Because I can't quite figure it out. As you can see, when you fire a nail with my scary nail gun, the nail's fired through the wood and we've got no, and then randomly, bang, it returns. So I guess something's stuck somewhere. Today I'm going to pull this apart for two reasons. One, it's not really working properly, and two, it'd be fun. That's just a cover covering the outer vent. Let's put that apart. There seemed to be a washer on all of these except for the first one I took off. Maybe this has come apart before, but I've never taken it apart and it was bought new. Alright. Now there's the outer casing, the back part. There's a gasket here. It's made out of some kind of hard plastic. Spring loaded. Nothing's moving so far. Ooh. Didn't break anything. Let's try taking this off first. Okay, that's the order they go in. This is the softest, this is the middle, this is the hardest. So it was set from the factory to be the hardest, whatever that does. Oh, okay, that's the safety trigger, so make sure that it only allows you to fire, releasing the trigger mechanism somehow when the gun is actually pushed against something hard. So maybe it makes it more noticeable when you press, or returns it out easier, not sure. Now all of this comes together in a single piece. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to put this all back together and take this part off while I still have it here. I actually already don't remember how this went together. Alright, so this shouldn't be so tight that it jams, but I guess that's the spot. And I'm going to put the green spring back in where it was before. Now I'm going to be a bit careful removing this because I actually don't know if it's spring loaded or anything. It doesn't seem to be forcing itself out by springs, so I guess it's not spring loaded because otherwise it would have pushed itself out past there, and it hasn't. There you go. I didn't even notice this one down here. Okay, so there's all the mechanism. I'm assuming this this part here is actually the hammer, and this fires out down this barrel, takes a nail with it, and shoots it out the barrel there at nice high velocities. Not so scary now, are you? Wow, without all that gubbins removed, it's really light. Ooh. There we go. Look at that action. I'm thinking. Right, I'm slowly getting a picture in my brain about how this works, and this is kind of really the way you figure stuff out. But this outer casing is always pressurized when the air is coming through. So, Alright chums, I took the opportunity while my wife called me to go inside and have a think about how this works, and I think I've finally figured it out. This is the piston for the hammer action. So basically this will slide up and down here, and each time it fires it catches a nail and shoots it out the barrel. So that's pretty straightforward, but how it actually actuates the piston in and out is quite fascinating. Now there's a little tiny ridge on the inside of this piston, which is the hammer piston's neutral position, sort of rests on that position right there. So that's where it sits when it's ready to fire. Now this rear casing has a core all the way down to this part here. So when the air is actually pressurized this entire inner casing all the time, but in its neutral position there is actually air pushing this upwards and sealing the O-ring on the back of the cylinder like so. Now what's happening is that when you press the trigger, it actually pressurizes the front section of the cylinder and pushes the cylinder back a little bit. And when that happens, it breaks the seal on this, giving the full tank pressure to the back of the cylinder and firing it forward. When it's all the way forward, there's another ring of holes, and it fires again, and that will push it back. Now, I think I figured out what the problem is here. Now the switch, I believe, decides which of those two ports inside there is it's firing through. One fired to send the piston back a little bit, and then forward, and then another one to send it back again once it's done its stroke. Now what I believe is happening is, the reason why it's not sending it back again is there's no problem with the cylinder, there's nothing stuck there, the O-rings are all good. What I believe is actually the problem is that there's a fault in this trigger valve. So this is not going to be easy to take apart. I'll have to take apart all these roll pins here, but that's what you've got to do to get it done, really. So maybe we'll try that next. Alright chums, this is a different day for me. I was up to putting this back on here. Oops, this little circle gloozy thing needs to go back on. Now this little pin looks like it's held on with an O-ring. It's a rubber O-ring. And it just slides right out. And there you go, you can see that the switch is actually not returning. It's quite obvious there when it's apart, and that's the delay for the secondary reload as it was shown in the other video. Should remove it, and out she comes, as easy as that. Interesting little mechanism. Only bit of scoring there, but I think that doesn't touch anything. I think it just seals on these O-rings here. So I don't think that's the problem. There's no grit. I think we've just got there's just grit inside here that's causing this trigger to move not very freely. Let's put a little bit of this. Yeah, that's much nicer already. The entire trigger mechanism is moving much smoothly. So the pressure would be pushing this from the out chamber, closing that. This is opening that. Everything seems to be moving smoothly now that I've greased it all up inside there. Just trying to make sure I line up the slot here with the roll pin hole. Just like in porn films, I'm doing everything at a weird angle so I can make it look good on camera. There really is a 1 in a million chance of me being able to push this down here correctly. Like this thing easily gets out of alignment that way and pretty much every way, and it's got to be rotationally aligned as well. I'll never be able to do it by eye. So now I have to take this end off, push the hammer through, use that to align the front, and then put it all back together. I've pushed that through and the hammer is now all the way through the barrel, and that pretty much should guarantee that the barrel is lined up with the hammer piston. Alright, putting this back together for the last forgotten bolt. I might just oil this front nail because it'll get right into the barrel that way. And let's see how she goes. Last time it didn't return, hopefully this time it does. There we go. We've got the fire, we've got the return stroke. Didn't actually feed a nail through though. There it is. I think it just didn't catch the first time. All the grease and build up. We've got our fire. I've got a return stroke straight away. I consider that to be a success, and luckily because I'm just about to run out of a second videotape. 2 hours worth of recording for this. Alright kids, thanks for watching. See you next time.